Hey everybody, this is Deacon Ben Seitz from St. Anna Joachim Church. Here today with my buddy Ted Lemire and Paul O'Donnell. We're talking about the fisherman. Fisherman is a men's apostle at St. Anna Joachim Church. It's dedicated to teaching men how to grow in their faith and in virtue and become the servant leaders and the men that God created them to be. There's three different pillars in the fisherman. The first is to know Christ and his church. The second is to become men of virtue. And the third is to learn how to evangelize and serve. So let me ask you, Ted and Paul, why did you decide to become fishermen?
Well, I know for me, the two things really. One is I wanted to grow spiritually. So like a lot of guys, you go to mass on Sunday, you do what's required, but I wanted to do more and looking for a way to do that. And the other piece is just to learn more about the faith. You know, the Catholic faith is an amazing to know more, and fisherman was a great opportunity to do that.
I too was looking to dive into more of the treasure of the Catholic faith, more learning. But the thing that I realized, I didn't have any Catholic men around me, and that I really needed support from Catholic men. And so that was what I was starting to look for.
Outstanding. How we start in the fishermen is we go through an 8-month core training program. And during that core training program, we focus on 5 different areas. The first is Catholic masculinity, and it's based upon a apostolic exhortation put out by Bishop Olmsted of Phoenix called Into the Breach. It's a 12-part video series we go through. Then we do a consecration to Jesus through Mary, take a break for Christmas, and come back and we study the Liturgy of the Hours. It's a prayer of the church, learn how to pray together as men, and then Lectio Divina, a way to meditate on sacred scripture, to actually hear God speak to us through his word. And finally, we study the sacraments from the Catechism of the Catholic Church. It gives us an overview of the sacraments, which for many of us, we haven't studied since about the 6th grade. Being able to look at that with an adult perspective is really, really fruitful, and also gives us an opportunity to dig into the Catechism of the Catholic Church, something that most men haven't spent a lot of time with. So which part of this core training really appealed to you the most or had the greatest impact on you?
For me, I think the two that stick out to me the most are doing Liturgy of the Hours, that praying with the whole church, joining the prayer of the church, doing the liturgy part of it, the work of the church. And then also I would say the Catholic masculinity part. Too often we think that masculinity is something that we are supposed to, some bravado that we're supposed to live up to, some macho thing that we are, like Rambo or Schwarzenegger. That's not real masculinity. Laying down your life is what real masculinity looks like. And that series Into the Breach really talks about that and speaks to that and does a really great job of instructing and inspiring us.
You know, for me, it was kind of surprising. You know, but like you're saying, we go through the Catechism of the Catholic Church on sacraments, and if anyone looks at the Catechism, it's kind of an intimidating book. It's thick. You open it up, and it looks like it's a legal document or something. You know, every paragraph is numbered, and it's not exactly like, oh, come here. This is this is a great story. Catechism is amazing. It starts to bring in, here's what the Old Testament says, and here's what the New Testament says, and here's how the councils of the church, things that, again, by themselves seem intimidating, but suddenly you spend some time on it, right? And you think about it, pray on it. It's profound. And it was nice both for myself and for the other guys, doing this, learning so much more about the faith.
Outstanding. Once we go through that 8-month core training, go through the Into the Deep workshop on that first Saturday in May, men become licensed fishermen at that point. They have an opportunity to do something called weekly weigh-ins, which is nothing more than a small group of men getting together every week to talk about their lives, share their struggles, their victories, and also an opportunity to look at the next Sunday's gospel, do some meditation on that. Do you do weigh-ins? Do you do weekly weigh-ins? And have you found it to be a powerful tool for your spiritual lives?
Yeah, I do. And I think it's been great, the group of guys that we have together. Certainly feel like my brothers. I know I could call on them anytime. And for me, I think probably the most powerful thing is the meditation, the Lectio we do on the next Sunday's gospel. And I'm always just amazed. We've all read the same thing. So you got 5 guys who've read the exact same thing. So we should all probably come up with the same answer, but it's amazing how all of our our backgrounds and what we're going through in our lives, and how the Lord speaks to us in such different, amazing ways.
Yeah, no, for me as well. And so we have a group that on Thursdays we go to daily mass. There's 7 o'clock mass, and then at 7:30 we'll meet for about an hour to go over the way in. And the first thing you do is, what was a moment close to Christ in the past week? And at first it's kind of hard to do. You think, it's like, I'm not so sure. But the more you do it, the more kind of sensitive you become to saying Christ is in our lives all the time, and whether it's through family or through someone you met or wherever the case is. If you didn't have fishermen, I'm not sure where you would talk about that. It's most guys, it's hard to bring these things up, right? You don't naturally do that. So
Not a
it's
conversation
nice to do
you
that.
have at work.
No, right. It's kind of a nice opportunity, right, to be more public about your faith and having the way in.
So how has being a fisherman helped you in your life as a Catholic man, as a husband, as a dad?
Doing the morning prayers, doing the daily prayers, it does start to change you. It's like doing daily exercise, and that's maybe the best analogy. So suddenly you start doing this, and gradually you do exercise, gradually you become a more fit person. You do the daily prayers, you gradually become more sensitive to spiritual things. And I think it's noticeable to them. I think, and if nothing else, it's a witness, right? As far as what you're doing and what it means to be a man, what it means to be a dad, a husband.
The beautiful part about what you just said, Paul, is that it takes away our urgency, desire to preach to our kids. We don't. That's what the thing that's changed me the most. I just live the witness of my faith because I'm a fisherman. Period. I'm going to fishermen. I'm going to my way in. I'm going to adoration. I'm going to whatever. I don't have to tell them anything. They already know. Part for me that's been astounding is that I'm still the same guy. They could easily discount everything that I'm doing. They know me better than anybody, but they can see the change, and they've brought that back to me.
It's really awesome. Just that sense of accountability, right?
Yeah.
When you're engaged with men like that, and it's an old adage of iron sharpening iron, right? So the bottom line is, if you'd like to learn more about being a fisherman, over the summer we're going to be providing short 25-minute presentations on what the fisherman is all about. It doesn't cost anything to be a fisherman. If you want to learn more, go to the Fisherman tab on our church website, or sign up after our weekend that's coming up. Put out into the deep. Find out what life is really about and how God is calling you to become the man that He created you to be.